Ah, Michigan. Beauty, sunshine, and lots of beautiful beaches. Most of America doesn't know about how special the Wolverine State really is. While lots of places in Michigan are truly fabulous, there's also cities here that outright suck. The worst parts of Michigan. You know them when you see them. They're the parts of Michigan you don't want to go, if you can help it. The goal today is to highlight the cities in Michigan that are the worst of them all. How do we do it? We measure the things most bad cities have. You know, where people are broke, where lots of people don't have a job, and where crime is sky high. We even measured the public school education levels. Let's get started.
Shall we begin?
Our first stop on our unfavorable journey through Michigan starts in Muskegon Heights, located along the lake just a bit north of Grand Haven. What makes Muskegon Heights such a lousy place to live? Many things. First off, 14% of people are out of work here, and just about everyone who lives here lives at or below the poverty line. And what about crime? If you know anything about Muskegon Heights, you know it was one of the most dangerous places in the state. In fact, the Heights is the type of place that you don't want to let your guard down, or you're gonna get skied. What's good about Muskegon Heights? Well, judging by the number of meth labs in the area, it sounds like you could make some extra income on the weekends. Just be sure to make enough for your friends over in Kalamazoo and Pawpaw. They're always ready to buy. Just north of Detroit along I-75 is the really lousy city of Pontiac. While most of America knows Pontiac as the home of the old Silverdome, people in Oakland County know it for what it really is: crummy. Pontiac has the second highest unemployment rate in Michigan, home values are in the bottom 20%, and crime is in the top 20% in the state. What's good news about Pontiac? Rumor has it they had one of the only tumbleweed sightings in the entire Midwest. About a dozen or so exits north of Flint along I-75 is the city of Saginaw, Michigan. You know when you get there because you'll see a car up on blocks. Saginaw is still dealing with the brunt of the manufacturing decline in mid-Michigan. Saginaw has the 5th worst unemployment rate, the 8th worst crime rate, and home values are in the state's bottom 10%. However, we have to mention that Saginaw has a ton of red box rental machines in town where you can check out all the latest movies. Continuing our worst tour of Michigan, we come to Benton Harbor, right along I-94 way down by the Indiana state line. There's a reason people call this place Benton Harlem. It's pretty much the poorest city in the state, where about 1 in 6 residents has decided that getting an actual job is something they're just not that into. And crime is twice as bad as the national average too. We continue our crummy tour of Michigan with the itty-bitty city of Greenville. This little city northwest of Grand Rapids has income levels just shy of Michigan's basement, and its crime rate's in the state's top 20%. Of all other major categories you can measure, Greenville ranks squarely in the state's bottom half. Welcome to Buena Vista, the 5th worst place in the entire state. Buena Vista is in Saginaw County, and it's technically an unincorporated community. Either way you look at it, it's lousy here. Buena Vista ranks in the bottom half of every major category, and the city's home values are the 6th lowest in Michigan. Is there any good news about Buena Vista? Well, the people here make more than the people in Hamtramck, so they can brag about that if they want to. Where's the 4th worst place to live in Michigan? You might be surprised that it's Detroit, possibly because the Motor City isn't higher up on this list. We don't need to go over the statistics about why Detroit's a bad place to live because it's been talked about endlessly. Instead, we can focus on the positive here. Detroit's kind of making a resurgence, especially in some parts of downtown. Public transportation and streetlights are improving, and police response times are too. If you took the bus north from Flint, before you were accosted or pickpocketed, you'd come to Beecher. Beecher isn't actually a city, but a census-designated place that some people think is part Flint. It's not. Beecher's crime, student-teacher ratio, adjusted income, and home value ranks are all in the bottom 6th of Michigan cities. The upside of living in Beecher? You don't live in Flint. We built this city, and now it sucks. Smack dab in the middle of Detroit is Highland Park, Michigan, 2nd worst place to live in the state. This is where they be hood hollerin'. Highland Park's entirely surrounded by Detroit, and it's so bad Detroit's government won't even consider absorbing Highland Park into the larger city, because then all of Detroit's unflattering crime and unemployment stats would instantly be made worse. Highland Park ranks 1st in Michigan in unemployment, 3rd in overall crime, and is 2nd from the bottom in teacher-student ratios. Is there a positive to live in Highland Park? Since the city yanked out all the streetlights years ago, if you're a vampire or criminal, this place is fabulous. Where's the worst city to live in Michigan? Of course, it's Flint, another city along I-75 with a really bad economy and high crime. Flint has the lowest home values in the state, the 4th highest unemployment rate, and the 5th worst crime. When you're in some of the worst Michigan communities, some parts might be hard to tell apart, but you can tell who's from Flint though. They're the ones with the 40, the pistol, beat-up car, and a pit bull. If you don't live in Flint or any of the other Michigan cities we mentioned, you don't have it too badly. Congratulations.